Reading teacher. So I am the last presenters of the chapter. So my chapters that I'm going to talk about the topic is like the teaching approach and instructional issues. So and the last point that I'm going to talk about is L1 use in the classroom. All right. So and this one, the question that I would like to ask is, should we use L1 in the classroom? All right. So maybe, we know that actually, come to this point, we need, as we know that, some approach need to use L1. All right. For example, like TTM, right? Grammar approach, teaching approach that we need, for translation, basically, is we need L1, interfere with the teachings. But in some approach, for example, like the REC method, that we need to use the target language only in the classroom. So for this, we can see that some teachers approach need to use only the target language, but some also need to use L1 in the classrooms too. But the question asked is, should we use L1 in the classroom? Right. And there's also benefits too, right? There's also some benefit to that we can let's say is that apply the L1 used in the classroom. But the thing is, there's like every one of this also give the benefits too. For example, if we use L1, there's also some benefits that we're gonna gain by using L1 in classroom. But we also gain the benefit too if you are using the target language, right? For example, like we know that the approach, you know we are developing in terms of approach. For example, like now we are in the in the recent approach that most schools adhere to is the communicative approach, right? And mostly is the target language, more use target language in the classroom, and that is you know uh, the benefit that we gain by using the target language. For example, like increase the amount of exposures, right? That is the things that we need to consider by using the target language, right? Because we want the student exposed more to the to the language, because that is how the language work, right? For example, like when we were child, when we expose to the more language that we expose more to, the language that we are likely to be able to speak, right? Yeah, that is like the real reality. That's why we still see that by using the target language is the more priorities that we need to imply in the classroom. But for in this case, we need to know what also is the benefit that we gain by using L1 in classroom too. So let's just go then. So by applying L1 in the classroom, it is like students use L1 to facilitate their process of comprehension and to reduce any insecurities that may arise from their limited language proficiencies. All right, so that is like one point that L1 should be used in the classroom because we can actually it help more students to understand to certain to certain thing, right? For example, sometime by and a student also build a confidence by knowing more things, right? For example, like some vocabulary. So the student can understand more in terms of they use L1 to takes more communication or give definition to the term, right? So that is also and also students are more clear more clear with the lessons or because of we know that sometimes students lack of the language proficiencies if they are the beginners. So by using L1 it pushes them to understand more the context of the lessons, right? That is one point. And another point is developing the meta-linguistic awareness. For example, in the book, it mentioned that, by just the student are going to discuss to any particular things that they don't know, and they use L1 to, let's say is that to check what and give definition to what they didn't know, the word or something. That is how they can build up that. That is how they can develop or promote their metalinguistic awareness. So says that, translation is the bridge between the familiar and the unfamiliar. So what does it mean that? Because learning language, we cannot jump 100% to the foreign language, right? As long as we have a bridge by use our native language to the foreign language to learn. So that is how can we build up from the familiar to unfamiliar, right? Is that how can we learn? It means that we have to take something that we have known to something that we have. That is to sum up. That is like by using L1, right? Using L1 in the classroom. And another thing is that by by using L1 or something like this also can help us to know the similarity and the differences of the structures of the word, right? For example, by learning this, we can, knowing the system of the language. For example, like Khmer and English. So in the system, in terms of the system, we are different, right? Like in terms of the word orders, sometimes in English sections we have to put adjective before noun, but the thing is in Khmer we have to put adjective after noun. So study by learning the translation or something in kind of like this, we attempt to know more, the similarity or the differences of the language from one language to another language, right? By knowing the points of the language works actually. And the following point, I'm very going to talk about the technologies and the language learning. So moving to the modern world, we are exposed to a lot of technologies, right? And technology and what we're gonna do with technologies, or what technology is gonna influence on teachings or in learning the language. It is a lot that the technologies or the modern technologies that help us to understand or to learn new things, basically to learn new language. For example, like I know that some person they don't need to go to school, right? They just learn through technologies, because technologies is like way that also can boost our language too. That is how, right? For example, like now people tend to overwhelm by using the like says that technology. For example, they can, as long as they have smartphone, they can chatting, they can use or online speaking, and that also can do the dictionary and also online learning. That's what we are doing in our course right now. So technologies happens a lot in terms of developing the learning or the language learning. And another point is, I'm going to talk about the benefits. What can we do with the technologies, or what technology play roles in helping or developing the teaching, learning, teaching language. The first one, internet available resources. As we know that, if you need a, practice source or something that you want to practice on the language, you just go to internet and search for ready-made material to practice your English, right? For example, like now we are preparation for the IELTS, then we can just go there and research, and there's a lot of documents that made ready for us to improve or to work on our language. First one, we can also checking accuracy and fluencies. How can we check it? Basically, now there's a lot of app that we can use to check our pronunciation and also the sections of our word where there's any mistakes of the sentence. There's a lot of ways that we can check on our fluencies and accuracies by using the app actually. And there in the same time, it also promote autonomous in learning. Actually, sometimes we just have the smartphone only, and then we can communicate with, or we can associate, we can interact with our million sources of learning. It's just have the smartphone and they can do something on their own. That's how that we develop or promote the autonomous in learning. And another one is synchronous or asynchronous learning. So at this point that the teachers or the schools can set for the time for the student to do synchronous or asynchronous, based on the course. For example, like I used to teaching, so the teachers can ask a student to use the time to do their own work. All right. So that is how can we do with the technologies. And technologies also help us a lot in language. For example, like the teachers, basically the teachers can assign the online block or something that ask a student to do some things with the block or something that the student can do. All right, those. So to sum up, we can see a lot of benefits that we gain from technologies, and technologies play a very big role in shaping the language in society, right? And the last point that I'm talking about is summing up. So to say again over the point that I said previously, I says that the teaching in terms of the uh, methodology. So there's the methodologies are developed more and more, and so we are not sure like in the futures who gonna come up with different teaching methodologies. But now actually it's in the 21st century, methodology. So a lot of schools, a lot of teachers, a lot of teachers tend to use communicative language teaching approach, right? Because that emphasize on the communication, and basically it's by communication using the target language. So but at the same time, like I said, that so both of the target language and L1 still, have the benefits in using in the classroom. So we can, see the benefit of each, and then we can use of them to get a benefit by applying in the classroom, right? And one more is, for example, like in the past, we know that, the approach tend or adhere to grammar drill and repetitive lab exercise, right? For example, normally, so the teachers just, ask students to, following the grammar rule. For example, the teachers give the rule and student need to follow the rule. But that is how, the some approach, some approach like grammar, teaching approach that how can we do with the drilling, so the teachers he would teach student by drilling. The student need to say the pattern of a sentence, how to develop language. So that is how some approach adhere to some particular point of doing or practicing in the language. And one more, it like it's I said again that it more shift to communicative approach recently. And last one it sorry. So the next point is corrective feedback. So is that how that's we doing with their feedback. So the teachers use with the feedback, right? So there are a lot of ways that we can give feedback. For example, recast. The teachers just say how said, and again, we're gonna just repeat the sentence again what the student said with the right intent to let the student know, right? By knowing and using the different ways of to correct the student or give the feedback to the student. And one more, it is how that we sees the importance of L1, and then we're gonna try to still apply L1 in the classroom. There's like a point in the book that we still emphasize the importance of L1 that's still used in the classroom, and that's L1's the influence and give the benefits. That's why we still needs in some case that, because like I said that by using L1 it's like we are making the student can be successful in learning, because sometimes the student for the beginner is very hard because their lack of the professor, the teacher said, by using the target language only that by this, like we are building the bridge for the learners by using the family to unfamiliar, something that the student can build up right from known to unknown. So is that, and the last one is technology. So the teachers can also apply technologies in their teachings. Like I said that in the previous year I was learning, so the teachers also integrated the technologies in their teachings. So that actually I can say is that by doing this, student exposed more to the language, and it helps to teach. It helps a lot by learning the language because technologies bring up the ways or the things that we can learn the language. So that is all of my point, and thank you so much. And yes, that's all our group presentation, and thank you so much, teacher.